Hare Krishna. So, very warm welcome to all of you for today's session on the Bhagavad Gita. We'll start our session with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, today we'll be covering the last part of the sixth chapter. Now, sixth chapter, as we know, is the transition from all other yoga processes into bhakti yoga, because in sixth chapter we are transitioning towards bhakti. And this sixth chapter, the aspect, the context which we are discussing and which we have been discussing in our previous sessions, it is related to how bhakti is divine and transcendental, and it does not end with the body. Lord Krishna talks about the divine aspect of bhakti yoga. So in our previous sessions, we discussed, because Arjun, he asked a genuine question to Lord Krishna, that Krishna, what will happen to a person who has engaged in bhakti, but he is not able to attain complete perfection, and before attaining complete perfection, he falls down. So what will happen to such a person? What will happen to him? Will his bhakti get destroyed? Whatever bhakti he has performed, although he has not attained complete perfection, but will it get destroyed? So, the answer to this question was given by Lord Krishna to Arjun in the previous session which we discussed. So, in the previous session, we discussed Lord Krishna, he says, Nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tat gacchati. That Arjun, any person who is engaged in spiritual advancement, and particularly a person who is engaged in bhakti, durgatim tat gacchati. He never undergoes durgati. He will never undergo bad destiny. And why it happens? So that also Lord Krishna told in the previous session. So Lord Krishna, then he goes on to say that Shuchi Nam Shrimatam Gehe Yoga Bhrashto Vijayate. That such a person who has completed bhakti to some extent, but he has not been able to complete his bhakti. So what will happen to him? So in the previous session, Lord Krishna said that such a person, he can have three kinds of births. First, before that, after he dies, he will go to upper planetary systems, and for many millions and billions of years, he will enjoy in the upper planetary systems, and then he will be born on earth after enjoying for many billions and billions of years in the upper planetary systems. He will, after that, he will be born on earth. He can be born in three types of families. Lord Krishna is talking about whom? A person who has performed bhakti, who has engaged in loving devotional service to Krishna in his previous life, who has practiced bhakti to attain love for Krishna in the previous life. So such a person, after enjoying for many millions and billions of years in the upper planetary system, again he is born on earth, and he can have three kinds of births. A person who has completed very less, for example, 5 to 10% or 15-20%, who has less backup of bhakti, he will take birth in a rich or aristocratic family. A person who has little more backup of bhakti in his previous life, for example, 40, 50, 60%, such a person will take birth in a very cultured family. Okay. And a person who has almost completed his bhakti, who has lot of backup of bhakti from his past life, he'll be born in the family of a great saintly person, a great pure devotee of Krishna. And Lord Krishna says that such a birth is the rarest, such birth is rarest of rarest in the whole universe. So then what happens after that? So let us see. So first we will see the previous shloka which we covered to build the context, and then we will move to today's discussion. Okay. Because we are into a very special aspect of the sixth chapter. So let us see the last shloka which we discussed in the previous session. So what happens to a person after he is born either in a aristocratic rich family or in a pious family or in the family of a pure devotee? What happens to him? So in the 43rd shloka which we discussed in the previous session, Lord Krishna gives the answer. What does he say? Tatra tam buddhi sanyogam labhate parva dehikam. So such a person, he revives his consciousness of previous life. To whatever extent he has attained love for Krishna, that love will be revived, that loving devotion to Krishna will be revived in this life. For example, if he had completed 10% in his past life, in this life, he will begin from 11%. Okay. And yatate chatato bhuya sansiddhau kurunandana. So he will begin from where he had left in his previous life, and he will endeavor for complete perfection in this life. Right. So this is what was the context which we discussed in the previous session. So now, okay, now a person is born in a pious family or a rich family or a family of a pure devotee, and he has revived his consciousness also from his previous life. Okay. That means he has already started his bhakti from where he had left in his past life. And for this, we discussed the example of Bharat Maharaj. If you remember, we discussed the life of Bharat Maharaj in the previous session. That how Bharat Maharaj, he was a great king, and then he retired to engage in bhakti. He retired to the forest, and in the forest, he had attained tremendous amount of advancement. He had completed, almost he had attained perfection. Just little was left. And then he got attached to a deer, and he died thinking of a deer. And in the next life, he was born as a deer. But although he was born as a deer, he could remember his past life. Why? Because he engaged in, he had attained lot of advancement in bhakti. He almost was about to attain perfection. And just before attaining perfection, he fell down. He got attached to a deer. So even although he was born as a deer in the next life, he could remember his past life. And that is why even as a deer, he remained near an ashram or a hermitage of saintly people. And every day he would hear Krishna Katha. Every day he would hear glories of Krishna from these saintly people. And then after his life as a deer, in the next life, he was born as Jad Bharat Maharaj. And as Jad Bharat Maharaj, he could remember everything, what mistake he had done as Bharat Maharaj. And that is why as Jad Bharat, he did not get attached to anyone. People used to think that he is a mad person. And that's how he attained complete perfection of human life, which is love for Krishna. Right? So that these things we discussed in our previous session. So I covered so that we build the context of today's session. So now today we'll begin our discussion with text 44, shloka number 44 of the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Purvabhyasena tenaiv hriyate hyavashopi saha jigyasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. Purvabhyasena tenaiv ह्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्द ब्रह्माति वर्तते. Translation: because of his practice of loving devotion to me and the revival of this consciousness from his previous lives, my devotee is automatically drawn to loving devotional service. Such an inquisitive yogi or a devotee, through his practice, transcends all the Vedic scriptures. Now you see, very important shloka. So what is Lord Krishna saying here? That Purva Abhyasena Tenaiva. Purva Abhyas means because of his Purva means prior or previous life. Abhyas means practice. Practice of what? Practice of devotion, loving devotion to Krishna. So because in his previous life, such a person had practiced loving devotional service to Krishna, hriyate means to get attracted. He avasho means helplessly, automatically. Apisaha. So the meaning is that because in his previous life, the devotee had engaged in loving devotional service to Krishna, Purvabhyasena, because he had practiced loving devotional service to Krishna in his previous life, Hriyate Hyavashopisaha. In this life, he will be helplessly, automatically attracted to Krishna. Because of his past, to whatever extent he developed love for Krishna, in this life, he will be automatically attracted to Krishna. Because in past life, he has practiced bhakti, he had practiced loving devotional service to Krishna. So in this life, he will automatically get attracted to loving devotional service to Krishna. Okay. And then what will happen? Then what is going to happen? So it is mentioned that Jigyasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. So Jigyasu means such a person will be Jigyasu. Jigyasu means he will naturally have inquisitiveness about Krishna. He will, that is what is called Brahma Jigyasa. Brahma Jigyasa means the inquisitiveness to know my relationship with Krishna. That is called Jigyasu. So, such a person will be naturally inquisitive to know Krishna. Jigyasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. And such a person will be shabda brahma ati vartate. Shabda Brahma means the Vedic scriptures. And ati vartate, ati means to transcend or to surpass the Vedic scriptures. So such a person will be able to transcend and such a person will cross over. He'll be able to surpass all the rules and regulations of the Vedic scriptures. Now, why Krishna is saying this here in this shloka? Why is he saying that such a person will transcend all the rules of the Vedas? He will rise above the Vedas. Why Krishna is saying this? If you remember, we have discussed this many times in the second chapter. So many times Lord Krishna has told that how Bhagavad Gita is much, much higher than the Vedic scriptures. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita is not a part of the Vedic scriptures. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita is directly the words of Krishna. In fact, in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, he says that Arjun, So Lord Krishna, he says that Arjun, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Okay. So what does it mean? That Lord Krishna, he says, he tells Arjun in the second chapter that Arjun, the Vedas talk about the three modes of material nature, but you should rise above the Vedas. You should rise above these three modes. So Vedic scriptures, all the Vedic scriptures, they only deal with the subject matter of the three modes. There are different kinds of Vedic scriptures written for different kind of people, different kinds of people. Some Vedic scriptures are written for very degraded people. Some Vedic scriptures are written for those people who are in mode of passion. Some Vedic scriptures are written for those people who are in mode of goodness. So how will a person know what to read, what not to read? That is why Krishna descended to give the Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita is above the Vedic scriptures. It talks about subject matters which you will never find anywhere else. Right? So that Krishna says in the second chapter that Arjun, Arjun, you should rise above the Vedas. Okay. And there is one more shloka in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The 15th shloka of the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Let me show that shloka to you all. You can all see on your screen. You can all see on your screen the shloka. You see, you can all see on your screen the 15th chapter, the 15th shloka of the 15th chapter. So what is Krishna saying here? So Krishna is saying that Arjun, सर्वस्य चाहम हृदय सन्निविष्टो. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto. So let me explain this shloka first to all of you. So Lord Krishna says, Sarvasya cha aham. Sarvasya means everyone, all the living entities. Sarvasya means all the living entities. Sarvasya cha aham hridhi sannivishto. Hridhi sannivishto. Hridhi means the heart. And sannivishto means seated, to seat, to sit. So Lord Krishna is telling that Arjun, I am seated in the heart of every living entity in the universe. That is the meaning of Sarvasya. Sarvasya means I am seated in the heart of everyone. That is why Krishna is also called as Paramatma. Why he is called as Paramatma? Because he is seated within the heart of every living entity. He knows what is going on within us. Okay. So Lord Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridaya sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Matta means from me. Smritir. Smritir means remembrance. Jnanam means knowledge. And apohanam means forgetfulness. So Krishna is saying, from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. All these three come from me. If we remember something, it is because of Krishna. If we forget something, that is because of Krishna. And the knowledge, jnana means divine knowledge. Divine knowledge also comes from Krishna. You see, material knowledge we gather through these material books which we read in these modern schools and colleges. They teach about material knowledge. And material knowledge ends with the body. Okay. Material knowledge actually is useless knowledge. It is of no use. It will end with the body. But Krishna here is saying about Jnanam. Which knowledge? So the knowledge which Krishna is talking about here is Divya Gyan. Divya Gyan means divine knowledge, which does not end with the body. Okay. So Krishna is saying, from me comes forgetfulness, knowledge, and remembrance. These three come from me. And then he says, very important word, you see, Vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo. Vedaischa sarvair. Vedaischa sarvair means all the Vedas. Sarvair means all. And Vedaischa means all the Vedas. Ahameva vedyo. Ahameva vedyo means I am the only one who is to be known by all the Vedas. All the Vedas are written for me. All the Vedic scriptures are written to know me. All the Vedic scriptures are written to attain love for me. That's what Krishna is saying here in this shloka. Vedascha sarvair ahameva vedyo. All the Vedas are written to know me. The purpose of all the Vedic scriptures is to attain love for Krishna. Okay. And then he says, Vedant Krit Ved Vid Evachaham. I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. Okay. So now what do we learn from this shloka? Why I showed this shloka to you all? Now let us go back to our shloka which we were discussing. Okay. Let us come back to the 6th chapter. So we were discussing the 44th shloka of the 6th chapter. That also now you can see on your screen. So now Krishna is saying that a person पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्द ब्रह्माति वर्तते. Shabd Brahma. So Krishna is saying that my devotee who has practiced bhakti in his previous life and who has revived his bhakti in this life and who is helplessly attracted to me and who is endeavoring for complete perfection, such a devotee, he is transcendental. He surpasses all the rules and regulations of Shabd Brahma. You see, Shabd Brahma Ati Vartate. Ati means to surpass all the rules and regulations of Vedic scriptures. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of surpassing all the rules and regulations of Vedic scriptures? Because in the shloka that we discussed just now, the 15th shloka of the 15th chapter, in that Lord Krishna is saying that the purpose of all the Vedas is to know me. The purpose of all the Vedas is to attain love for me. All the Vedas are written for what? To attain Krishna, to attain love for Krishna. That is the purpose of all the Vedas. Okay. So, if a person has already attained love for Krishna, does he need to undergo all the rules and regulations of the Vedas? No. All the rules are meant to take us to love for Krishna. But a person who has already attained love for Krishna, he does not need to follow any rules and regulations. Isn't it? I'll give you an example. For suppose if a person has $1 million, okay, if he's a millionaire, if he has $1 million, so if he has $1 million, he already has $100, $1,000, $10,000, $100,000. It is all included in $1 million, isn't it? So if a person has 1 million, if he's a millionaire, then he does not need to work hard for $1,000 or $10,000. No, it is already included in his net worth, isn't it? So similarly, a person who has attained love for Krishna, who has attained loving devotion to Krishna, a person who is a pure devotee of Krishna, he has transcended all the rules and regulations of the Vedic scriptures because he has attained the goal of the Vedas. That is why Krishna is telling here that Shabd Brahmati Vartate, that such a person, he transcends, he surpasses Shabd Brahma. Shabd Brahma means He surpasses all the rules and regulations of Vedic scriptures. Why? Because he has attained love for Krishna. And why? How he has attained love for Krishna? Because since many lifetimes he has practiced bhakti, right? So that's why, because of his pure devotion, loving devotion to Krishna, he has surpassed all the Vedas. He does not need to follow any Vedic scriptures. Why? Because he has become a pure devotee of Krishna. Vedic scriptures are meant to make us pure devotee. But a person who is already a pure devotee, he does not need to do anything. He does not need to follow any Vedic scriptures. All the following of Vedic scriptures has been done in his past life. In this life, he simply needs to engage in loving devotional service to Krishna. Now, text 45, shloka number 45. प्रयत्नादयत मानस्तु योगी संशुद्ध किल्बिषः अनेक जन्म संसिद्धस ततो याति पराम गतिम. प्रयत्नादयत मानस्तु योगी संशुद्ध किल्बिषः अनेक जन्म संसिद्धस ततो याति पराम गतिम. Translation. Thus, after many births of sincere endeavor and practice in loving devotional service, a devotee becomes fully purified of all sins and finally attains perfection by attaining me, the supreme destination. You see? So now Krishna is concluding these answers which he is giving to Arjun by saying that prayatnad yatmanastu. Prayatna means endeavor. And yatmanastu, yatmanas means, again, yatmanas also means endeavor. Prayatna also means endeavor. Okay. So prayatnad yatmanastu yogi sanshuddha kilbishay. So Lord Krishna is telling that a person who is in this way engaged in my loving devotional service, such a devotee, such a yogi, yogi means a devotee. So such a devotee, sanshuddha kilbishaha. Shuddha, kilbisha means sinful reactions. So, and sanshuddha means to be purified. So such a devotee, he is fully purified of all sinful reactions. He is completely purified. Because in human life, knowingly or unknowingly, everyone commits some or other sinful activities. And everyone will have a baggage of sinful reactions. Okay. So Lord Krishna is telling, but my pure devotee, who is in this way engaged in loving devotional service to me, he is freed from all sinful reactions. All his sins are destroyed. Why? Because Krishna is called as Mukunda. Mukunda means Mukti Pradata iti Mukunda. One who awards liberation to his devotees, that is Krishna. Right? So such a person, a pure devotee of Krishna, is purified of all sinful reactions. And then what happens? Aneka Janma Sansiddhas. So his many lifetimes of bhakti, because he had performed bhakti in his previous lives also, so Anek Janma Sansiddhas. So whatever endeavor he had performed in his previous lives, it all becomes successful. Sansiddhas means success, ultimate success. So in this life, he attains ultimate success of whatever bhakti he had performed in his previous lives. All that bhakti becomes successful in this life. Why? Because in this life, he becomes a pure devotee of Krishna. And tato yati param gatim. Tato means, and tato means thereafter or ultimately. Yati means to attain or to go. So tato yati param gatim. And in this way, Such a pure devotee of Krishna, he attains Param Gati. Param Gati means Param Gati. Param means Krishna and Gati means destination. So in this way, such a person attains his topmost destination, which is Krishna. That is the goal of human life. That is the perfection of human life. Human life is meant for this, to attain Param Gati. Param Gati means to attain Krishna. Krishna talks about it in the 8th chapter also. Param Gati. Param Gati means to attain Krishna. So that is why those who are pure devotees, it may take many lifetimes for a person to become a pure devotee. Bhakti is not a one lifetime activity. There are two ways in which a person becomes a pure devotee. Those who are pure devotees, they are called siddhas. So there are two ways in which a person can become a siddha or a pure devotee. One is called sadhana siddha and another is called kripa siddha. Sadhana siddha means what? Sadhana siddha means when a person through his own endeavor, he attains perfection or he becomes a pure devotee by his own endeavor. But that takes many lifetimes. We discussed in the previous chapter, in this chapter only, that a person has to go to the forest, undergo severe penances, austerities, and then after many, many lifetimes, he will gradually progress towards pure devotion. But it takes many lifetimes. So, such people are called sadhana siddha. Those who after many, many lifetimes of purification, gradually they reach the platform of pure devotion. But in this age of Kali Yuga, is it possible to go to the forest, undergo penances, austerities? Very difficult for ordinary people. Very difficult for anyone in that sense. So that is why the second way in which we become a pure devotee is called Kripa Siddha. Now, what is the meaning of Kripa Siddha? Kripa Siddha means if we attain mercy of our Guru, our spiritual master. By attaining Kripa, Kripa means mercy. By attaining mercy of a pure devotee who is our spiritual master. I'll give you an example to substantiate this. Suppose we want to become a millionaire. We want to earn 1 million rupees. So there are two ways in which a person can become a millionaire. One method is that he, with great hard work, he tries to earn $1 million. Okay. But that may take many lifetimes, or that he may not be able to attain that in this life, isn't it? It's not necessary that by hard work a person will become a millionaire. Not necessary, isn't it? But there is another way of becoming a millionaire. If another millionaire comes and gives us 1 million rupees or $1 million, then also we become a millionaire. Either we earn 1 million rupees or someone comes and gives us $1 million. In both cases, we become a millionaire, isn't it? So, that is called Kripa Siddha. Kripa Siddha means, although we may have no qualification, but if we please our Guru, if we please our spiritual master, and if our spiritual master blesses us, then even though we may be most unqualified, but we will gradually progress towards pure devotion even in this life. That is the secret of bhakti in Kali Yuga, in this age of Kali. So in both cases, we become pure devotees. But in this age of Kali Yuga, mostly people are Kripa Siddhas. Kripa Siddhas means when we attain mercy of our spiritual master or Guru. So in this way also we become pure devotees. So that is what Krishna is saying here, that prayatnad yatmanastu yogi sanshuddha kilbisha. So here Lord Krishna is talking about those people who have performed bhakti in their previous life, and through their sincere endeavor of many lifetimes, finally in this life, they keep endeavoring and then ultimately attain complete success, which is called Paramgatim. And what is Paramgatim? To attain Krishna. Right. Now we come to the last two shlokas of the 6th chapter. Now the last two shlokas are very special because these two shlokas give the essence of bhakti. Essence of bhakti. These two shlokas. Very, very important shlokas. So we'll cover these two shlokas together. Okay. First I'll read the 46th shloka and then the 47th shloka. And then we'll read the translation and we'll discuss both of them together. Okay. So 46th shloka. तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन. तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन. Translation: My devotee is superior to a tapasvi, austere practitioner. My devotee is also considered superior to a jnani, speculator. My devotee is even superior to a karmi, fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjun, become my devotee. Now, 47 shloka. Yoginamapi sarvesham madgatenantaratmana श्रद्धावान भजते यो माम समे युक्त तमो मतः. योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान भजते यो माम समे युक्त तमो मतः. Translation: Among all the yogis, the greatest is the one who has made me the ultimate goal of life, who constantly meditates on me within the mind, and who, with unwavering faith and conviction, is engaged in loving devotional service unto me. Now you see, very important. So first let us discuss the last shloka, the 47th shloka. So what is Lord Krishna saying here? Let us see. So Lord Krishna is saying that yoginam api sarvesham. Sarvesham means of all the yogis. Okay. So yoginam means amongst all the yogis. Okay. Amongst all kinds of yogis. Who is the greatest? So that is what Lord Krishna is saying, that who is the greatest yogi amongst all the yogis. So Lord Krishna says, Mad Gaten Antaratmana. Mad Gatena. Gaten means goal or destiny. Antaratmana, within the mind. Okay. Antaratmana means within the mind. So, of all the yogis, of all kinds of yogis, a yogi who has made me the goal of life and who is always thinking about me within the mind. And another point, Shraddhavan bhajate. Shraddhavan means, Shraddha means great faith, great conviction. So Shraddhavan bhajate. Bhajate means bhajan. Bhajan means, in Sanskrit, the word bhaj means seva or service. So Shraddhavan bhajate means that such a person with great faith and conviction, he is engaged in my loving devotional service. Okay. So Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam. Mam means me. Same yukta tamo mataha. Same yukta tamo. Yukta tamo means, yukta means a yogi or a devotee. And tamo means the greatest. You see? So what is Lord Krishna saying here in this shloka? Who is the greatest yogi? So the greatest yogi is a yogi who within the mind is always thinking of me, who has made me the ultimate goal of life, and who is engaged with great faith and conviction in my loving devotional service. Such a yogi is the greatest. So who is such a yogi? That is Bhakti Yogi. You see, there are different kinds of yogis. There are different kinds of yoga processes which people follow. Ashtang yoga, Dhyan yoga, Gyan yoga, Patanjali yoga. There are different kinds of yoga processes. But all other yoga processes are not capable to bring us to Krishna directly. All other yoga processes are, they, because it's like wasting time. If a person follows any other yoga process except Bhakti yoga, it's simply wastage of time. Because any other yoga process cannot bring us to love for God, love for Krishna. That is not possible by any other yoga process. That is why Bhakti yoga is called as culmination of all yoga processes. So that is why there are two kinds of yogis. There are some yogis who follow other yoga processes, and there is Bhakti yogi. So two kinds of yogis, other yogis and Bhakti yogi. So other yogis, for them to attain Krishna is almost impossible. So Krishna can be attained only by Bhakti yogi. And that's what Krishna is telling here. He's saying that the greatest yogi is Bhakti yogi. That is why in this chapter, when Krishna uses the word yogi, that means bhakti, a pure devotee. That is the meaning of yogi. Yogi means a devotee of Krishna, a person who is engaged in loving devotional service to Krishna. Right? So this is the last shloka. Now let us go to the 46th shloka. Now we will discuss 46th shloka, because now we will understand better what Krishna is telling. So now in the 46th shloka, you see what Krishna is telling. Tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi. So Lord Krishna is telling that Arjun, tapasvibhyo adhiko. Adhiko means greater than. So Lord Krishna is telling that a yogi, yogi means pure devotee. So Lord Krishna is telling a pure devotee is greater than a tapasvi. Jnanibhyopi matodhikaha. A pure devotee is greater than a jnani, and karmibhyaschadhiko yogi. Again the word yogi comes, and then he says that my pure devotee is even greater than a karmi. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. And then Lord Krishna goes on to say that therefore Arjun, you should become my pure devotee. You should try to become my devotee. Okay. So what is the meaning of, you see, three words are used in this shloka: tapasvi, jnani and karmi. And Krishna is telling that a pure devotee is greater than all three of them. So what is the meaning of the word tapasvi? Tapasvi means a person who undergoes severe penances and austerities. Okay. Tapasvi, generally people think tapasvi means that a person who tortures his body. That is the general understanding of people. That tapasvi means a person who undergoes severe penances and austerities. Okay. But you see, to give pain to the body is not, that is not the only way to do tapasya. Tapasya means to voluntarily take some inconveniences to attain higher purpose of human life. That is called tapasya. Tapasya, austerity or penance, means to voluntarily take some inconveniences in this life to attain higher purpose of human life. That is called tapasya. That is called austerity. So people generally think that austerity means to give pain to the body, to torture the body. No, that even animals do. Animals are much, much austere than human beings. You see plants, they are much more austere. Whole day they are standing in the sun. Whole year they are standing in sun, winter, summer, rainfall, everything. So that to give pain to the body is not the only way to do tapasya. And that is considered lower level of austerity, lower level of tapasya. What is real tapasya? Above bodily tapasya is mental tapasya. And above mental tapasya is intellectual tapasya, buddhi. Because there are four platforms of existences. The lowest is the bodily platform. Above bodily platform is mental platform. Above mental platform is intellectual platform. And the highest is a spiritual platform. So, higher than bodily tapasya is mental tapasya. And higher than mental tapasya is intellectual tapasya. So, how to do intellectual tapasya? Intellectual tapasya means to hear Krishna Katha from the spiritual master. That is called satsang. That is called powerful association. So when we hear Krishna Katha, when we hear the glories of Krishna from Guru, that is called intellectual tapasya. Ideally, disciple means who never hears anything apart from his Guru. That is called intellectual tapasya. To give aside, to give up everything, every other thing, except hearing from Guru. So that is intellectual tapasya. Mental tapasya means to always think of Krishna, to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Right? So that is why Lord Krishna is telling here that tapasvid bhyodiko yogi, because people generally think tapasvi means a person who tortures the body. Right? But torturing the body is not real tapasya, because that even animals can do, isn't it? So that is why Lord Krishna is telling that a pure devotee is greater than a tapasvi, because a pure devotee is engaged in real tapasya. Okay. Then jnani bhyopi matodhika. Now what is the meaning of a jnani? So there are two kinds of jnanis. Jnanis means those who have knowledge. So there are two kinds of jnanis. One is called divine or divya jnani. Divya jnani means a person who has divine knowledge. And another is called speculator. Speculator means who does mental speculation. They are also sometimes called as jnanis. So Divya means what? Divya means transcendental divine knowledge. Now we have discussed in the fourth chapter what is the meaning of divine knowledge. Divine knowledge means the knowledge which we receive from our Guru, our spiritual master. That is called divine knowledge. And how Guru has received? From his Guru. How his Guru has received? From his Guru. This is called disciplic succession. This is called parampara. So when we receive our knowledge from the spiritual master, from a bona fide spiritual master, that knowledge is called divine knowledge. So pure devotees, they have divine knowledge. But here the word jnani which is used is ordinary jnanis, those who are mental speculators, those who try to speculate and come to higher understanding. But by speculation, we can never understand Krishna, because our mind and intelligence is tiny. How much ever a person may endeavor, but by speculation, he can never understand God. God can only be understood by going to a person who knows God. That is the only way. And how he knows God? Because he has known God through a person who knows God. Right? So that is the only way to know God. We cannot understand Krishna by mental speculation. Right? So those who are mental speculators, their knowledge is material, and that will end with the body. So that is why Krishna here in this shloka, in the second part of the shloka, he says, Jnanibhyopi matodhikaha. So A pure devotee is greater than a jnani also. Now the third part, karmibhyaschadhiko yogi. And then Lord Krishna is telling that my pure devotee is also greater than a karmi. Now what is the meaning of a karmi? Karmi means a person who takes pleasure in sense gratification. His goal of life is to engage in material work and enjoy the fruits of our material work. That is the meaning of karmi. Karmi means a fruitive worker. He works very hard and tries to enjoy the fruits of his work. But the problem is that when we engage in material work, the fruits that we attain, those fruit carry karmic reactions. They carry either good reaction or bad reaction. Whenever we do material work, the reaction, the any fruit that we get from our material work, it will carry with itself, the fruit will carry with itself either good reaction or bad reaction. Now, if there is good reaction, we get a good body. If there is bad reaction, we get a bad body. So we are not free from the cycle of birth and death. Right? So that is why, what does a pure devotee do? A pure devotee, when he works hard, the fruit that he gets, he gives it all back to Krishna. He never enjoys anything. He just keeps a bare minimum for whatever is required for him, and rest everything he gives back to Krishna. That is called a pure devotee, right? Pure devotee means he knows that nothing belongs to him. Everything belongs to Krishna. Even this body does not belong to us. Body will also, either it will become ash or it will become mud one day, isn't it? So even our body does not belong to us. Nothing belongs to us. Everything belongs to Krishna. So a pure devotee knows this. And that is why he never becomes enjoyer of his the work that he does. He never becomes enjoyer of the fruit of the work that he has done. All the fruit that he attains, he gives back to Krishna. Right? So that is why Lord Krishna is saying that karmibhyash chadhiko yogi, that my pure devotee is greater than a karmi also. And then what does he say? Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. And therefore, Arjun, you should try to become a yogi. You should try to become my pure devotee. Okay. That's how you should try to become a pure devotee. And then you see the final shloka, the 47th shloka, Lord Krishna says, who is a yogi? Because in the previous shloka, what does he say? That tasmad yogi bhavarjuna, tapasvibhyodiko yogi, jnanibhyopi matodhikaha, karmibhyaschadiko yogi, tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. That Arjun, my a yogi is greater than a tapasvi, greater than a karmi, greater than a jnani. And therefore, Arjun, you should become a yogi. So what kind of yogi? So that he says in this shloka, the last shloka, that yogi namapi sarvesham, of all the yogis, the greatest yogi is bhakti yogi. This is the conclusion of this shloka. This is the conclusion of the 6th chapter. This is the last shloka of the 6th chapter. So how Krishna is concluding the 6th chapter? By saying that of all the yogis, of all the different kinds of yogis, the greatest yogi is bhakti yogi. All other yoga processes ultimately culminate into bhakti yoga. All other yoga processes are like rivers, and bhakti is like the ocean. Just like all the rivers ultimately merge into the ocean, similarly, all the yoga processes ultimately must culminate into bhakti yoga. After following a yoga process, if a person does not end up in bhakti yoga, then he is simply wasting his time. Because the goal of all the yoga processes is to come to bhakti. And that is why you see in our universe, all the greatest transcendentalists, all the greatest people of our universe, Who is the greatest people in the universe? Who are the greatest people in the universe? Lord Shiva, pure devotee of Krishna. Lord Brahma, pure devotee of Krishna. Who is the greatest personality in the universe? Narad Rishi. Narad Rishi, he is the greatest personality in the universe. No one can match him. He is the only person who can, whenever he wants, he can visit Krishna. No one has such facility. Only Narad Rishi has that. In fact, you know what is the meaning of the word Narad? Nar, it comprises of two words, Nar and Da. Nar means Narayan and Da means one who gives us Narayan. So only by mercy of Narad Rishi we can attain mercy of Lord Narayan. That is why he is called Narad, because he possesses Lord Narayan. He is the greatest devotee in the universe, Narad Rishi. Like that, we have so many pure devotees in the universe. Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Narad Rishi, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, Lord Hanuman, all transcendentalists, all the people whom we worship, they are all pure devotees of Krishna, right? So that is what Lord Krishna, that's how he concludes the 6th chapter by saying that the greatest yogi is Bhakti Yogi. And that is why Arjun, you should try to become Bhakti Yogi. So this is how the 6th chapter now concludes. And from the next session, we'll begin the 7th chapter. So today's session will stop here. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming for today's session. Now we'll move to the 7th chapter. So first chapter to the 6th chapter is the first part of the Bhagavad Gita. Then 7th chapter to the 12th chapter is the second part of the Bhagavad Gita. So now our first part of the Bhagavad Gita concludes, and now we will move to the second part of the Bhagavad Gita. So second part is very, very special. We'll have universal form. We'll have pure devotional service. So many beautiful aspects we'll be discussing. So from the next session, we'll begin with the second part of the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming for today's session. We'll stop here. Hare Krishna.